Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the virtual breakfast session. I'm Larry Sashin, and today we put together a great group to talk about something that's very troubling to anyone with a mind or soul. Feeding the hungry should be as easy as a snap. It doesn't seem to be. But before we go into that, let me thank the guy who's paying the bills today, Ed Flanagan and the Era Group. Listen, you work very hard for your money, and if you're not getting what you thought you should be getting, call Ed Flanagan and the Era Group. Their people will sift through your invoices, your contracts to make sure you're getting exactly what you're paying for. And if you're not, they will help you to renegotiate or get a new purveyor. That's it, Ed Flanagan, the Era Group. Back to our topic. Feeding the hungry should be easy as a snap. It's just not, In the United States, we tend to hear, they say 3 million people are not getting their benefits in New York. The first thing people say is those people. There's a separation between us and them. Well, it's not just us and them. Them has expanded because, there's someplace between 21 and $21 million not flowing into New York every month. If you're not spending those 21 to $23 million, what happens to the bodegas and the grocery stores and the delivery men, the transportation services and the distributors and the producers? This is a ripple effect very close to Hiroshima during World War II. The shock wave is what's going to kill us. You got to think about that. We had a show a few weeks ago that Julie, you were on. And at that point, 3.5 weeks ago now, you mentioned that already the soup lines were getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit and expand on it.
When we spoke a few weeks ago, we were already seeing such an increase on the people that were standing in lines, the families, the seniors. When you're on a fixed income and the prices in the grocery stores are going higher, the seniors are the ones that are suffering fastest, the first. Now, what we're seeing with the partners that we're working with is, I just had a call yesterday with a group, and the local YMCA does a huge food pantry and a huge distribution each month. And they had 60 families register over the weekend because of SNAP. And that's in Bergen County. Bergen County, for those of you who don't know, Bergen County is one of the wealthiest counties in this country. 60 families just in one small YMCA registered over the weekend. I think that's very telling. But yeah, the lines are just atrocious. It's horrible to see.
Tami, this food that's being distributed, where is it coming from now?
So right now we are getting food we still have our USDA commodities that we had placed prior to the shutdown. So we still have that food in hand, as well as the state and the county have been great supporters of ours. And so we have had our inventory already, but in preparation for this, we brought in some more, but we know that we have to bring in much more.
Meryl, everybody knows City Harvest. It was one of the pioneers in the field. How are you expanding now? Where are you getting this extra food for the extra people? And how can a restaurant get involved?
It's a great question. It sounds like Tami, we have been preparing for this. We have been sourcing extra food. Most of the food that City Harvest gets is rescued. It's food that would otherwise go to waste. So we have been increasing the amount of food that we're getting, primarily produce, but also understanding that this is really a disaster situation. We have also been purchasing food. That's not something we typically do at City Harvest, but a lot of times people supplement the produce that we provide with stuff they get with their SNAP benefits. And now we understand that people aren't able to do that. So we want to be able to provide more. So we've been purchasing high demand foods like peanut butter, cooking oil, rice. And so we are increasing the amounts that we're distributing. Both we're doing pop-ups for federal workers, and then we are delivering extra food to our food pantry partners in the neighborhoods with the highest SNAP participation rates.
Okay, I have to apologize. It's still early in the morning. Julie, tell everybody who you are.
Yeah, Julie Kenner, Vice President of Operations for Table to Table. We're a food rescue organization located in northern New Jersey, and actually City Harvest we consider our big sister, even though it's been 27 years, but City Harvest helped us get our start.
Okay, Tami.
Sure. Tami Wilson, COO and interim CEO at Feeding Westchester, county's only food bank. And we we have 175 partners throughout the county to serve our neighbors.
Yes, and Jessica.
Hi, I'm Jessica Timms. I'm the Chief Development Officer at Lifting Up Westchester, and we are one of those partners that benefits from the food bank at Feeding Westchester.
And say hi, Fred.
Good morning, Fred Clashman, editor and publisher of Total Food Service. Thank you guys so much for taking the time. I know very busy. Thanks.
Yes, and once again, I'm Larry the Forgetful. Let's get back to the show. Okay, so Jessica,
Yeah.
tell me the type of people that are coming in. You know, now that it's expanding to the grocers and to everybody else in that chain, what kind of people are you seeing that you normally don't?
Yeah, so at Lifting Up Westchester, we're a little bit different. We provide services to the unhoused and individuals who are struggling to meet their other basic needs. So at Lifting Up Westchester, we actually have a community kitchen where people can come in, sit down, have a nutritious meal every weekday. Lately, we've been seeing about 100 guests per day, and that is an increase from what we saw just a few weeks ago. And I think what people would be surprised about if you came in to visit our kitchen is exactly who is in the room, right? I think that it would bust a lot of myths just right there, seeing the individuals who we serve. I mean, it's everybody from individuals who are truly unhoused, street homeless, to the lower wage workers, working poor, day laborers. And we find also that we're seeing a lot more seniors too coming in now. And it's interesting because some of them come truly because they need the meal, whereas others come because they truly need the company too, which is something that is really special. And what I personally love about our community kitchen is that it's just such a welcoming space. Truly, all are welcome who want to come and share a meal. And I think there's something really special about that. And the camaraderie that's built there is really special too, particularly at this time where everything can feel so divisive. This is a place where everyone can really come together.
Okay, so, you know, they always say when one door closes, another one opens. There is all of a sudden a shortage of people buying. That means there's stuff out there. How do you source the product, Julie? How are you going out and getting new people to pitch in?
Yeah, it's a delicate balance because I hate to say, we're picking the bones. Like we go to our grocery stores on a daily basis. We have trucks, we have volunteers, and they're picking up from very generous donors who are taking that extra step to save the food for us, to make sure it's not going into landfill. So they're already doing a great job at it. So now we're going to them and saying, well, listen, we know that less people are purchasing from you. If your orders were already in, we can make sure it goes out to the right people. We can make sure it gets delivered, picked up. So that's one side of it. What we're also seeing, and I'm sure everyone can speak to this, we are seeing not only the counties, the cities, the local governments stepping up in a huge way, but we're seeing the local community step up in a huge way. Food drives. Every day I get a call from a different Girl Scout troop or a different school saying that they're doing food drives. We also have schools that are now signing on to give us their, I hate calling it leftovers, but giving us their excess from the cafeterias. That's amazing. We have Bloomfield schools and we have Ridgewood schools, and now Mawa schools have just signed on. That's huge. That is incredible because those are great meals that can go right into a senior group or can go right into an after school program in Newark or somewhere else like that needs the food that is easy, very accessible, very easy to heat up, very easy to eat. It's impressive the amount of people that we're seeing step up to assist.
So Meryl, I know that Governor Hochul is getting involved in this and she's throwing money into it. How does a group like, or Jessica, either one of you answer this, how do you get a piece of that pie?
Jessica, do you want to take that?
I think that a lot of it comes, we're very fortunate that a lot of it comes through our local government as well. But still think it's to be seen how we're going to be able to access those funds and how they'll be distributed equitably across all of the organizations serving all of the people who really need it. So I think that's still to be determined, but definitely working with your local leadership is going to be huge, and collaborating there to start with is going to be probably step one for us.
I'm going to go to you on this one, Meryl. A lot of the restaurants you deal with are in Manhattan, okay? Some of the workers that work in those restaurants in Manhattan are on SNAP. How are the restaurants stepping up to help their own people?
That's a good question, and I don't know specifically what they're doing. I do know a lot chefs and other restaurants we work with have been reaching out to say, what can we do? How can we help? Should I volunteer? Do we, raise money at the restaurant to donate to City Hall? Harvest. So I can't answer that specific question, but we have been, very impressed by the generosity of the restaurant community, people reaching out to see what they can do to help right now.
So let's talk about that outreach. And this is a toss-up. How do you make that initial contact with somebody who's never given you anything?
From like the restaurant community or in general?
In general, restaurant community, collections, whatever it is. What is your outreach?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tami.
No, that's okay. Sorry,
Okay.
Meryl, I apologize. At Feeding Westchester, I think where we first start is bringing awareness to the community. So we have been really relying on advocacy efforts, sharing our hunger report, really getting out in the community, town halls, because I think at least for Feeding Westchester, there is a misconception that hunger doesn't live in Westchester County because it's Westchester County, right? And so informing and bringing awareness that 1 in 3 households are at risk of hunger in Westchester County, because for me, born and raised in Brooklyn, I say this often, for me, Westchester County is considered upstate and upstate is considered Canada, right? And so when you make it to Westchester, you're like super posh, right? So you think, oh, I get on the Metro North, I go down to the 5 boroughs, that's where hunger is. It's not here in Westchester County. And that's false. So for us, we have really been advocating, letting the community know this is what is happening in your own backyard. This is what it looks like. And we have to realize too, hunger doesn't have a face. It doesn't look like one thing. Whatever you think it looks like, it looks probably the opposite, right? And if COVID didn't teach us anything, it taught us that. You can come in a Maserati, in a Bugatti, and you can come and you can still be hungry. And guess what? Our partners, we are going to show up to help you. I think the misconception definitely has been helping, but the awareness brings people to the table. They have aha moments. They think, oh, who are you actually feeding? Are you feeding those people? No, we're feeding children, because up until this year, when we got universal school meals, they had to pay for lunch if they could pay for breakfast and lunch. And so we are like one of 9 states that are able to do that. And that's great, right? But we also have to talk about seniors. Congregate meals, as Jessica was saying, it is wonderful. Seniors need the interaction. It is important for them. But can you imagine working your whole life and then retiring and then having to go stand on the line? It is nerve-wracking, overwhelming, anxious, and it is cruel. I think bringing these things to the tables, talking about it in forums like this, really allows people to say, you know what, I didn't know that, and then they step up. So it's a level of engagement and interaction and bringing awareness.
I think also another population that is often disregarded in this conversation or ignored are the young adults too, who are just starting out. Like, people will make light of those hungry college kids on campus living on ramen and such, but if you really peel back the layers there, that's hunger, that's food insecurity. These are students who are trying their best to build towards a brighter future, but it's really, really hard to focus on biochemistry when your tummy's growling, and so that's something that we found too, even in our youth programs, that for our students who are going off to college, really trying to break that cycle of poverty and build a brighter future. They're worried about, are my siblings eating at home? Are my parents eating? Am I going to be able to eat so I can cram for the next 10 hours for this midterm exam that I have? So it really, to your point, Tami, it runs a gamut, right? It's across the spectrum. This really does touch everybody.
A stat came out this morning. How old do you think what's the average age of a first-time home buyer in America?
Now?
Yeah.
30,
Yesterday, it came out yesterday.
38.
40.
47.
Right.
Yeah.
So just think about how that feeds into what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's really mind-boggling, because a lot of times you'll hear things like, oh, elementary school has a school pantry, right? But you have an elementary school, a middle school, a high school. You don't graduate from high school and magically are no longer food insecure. It goes with you, right? And so we're even seeing colleges step up as well. And it's tough. And you're right, Jessica, like, people are like the anxiety. I can't imagine looking at the clock every single day, wondering if my SNAP benefits are going to re-up on November 1st. And then October 31st in the 11th hour, they're like, it's partial. And we're still, what does partial mean? Because it doesn't mean 50%, doesn't mean 75, it could mean a third. If you owe me $100 and you give me $1, you actually partially paid me. You partially paid. So what does that actually mean? And, we went out this weekend and people were like, we didn't get our benefits yet. And those lines, Julie was saying, those lines are longer. Those lines are longer. along and leading into a holiday that is centered around a meal, family togetherness, gratitude, empathy, and humility. And this is what we're doing.
No, and we left out a group of the community. Is very ironic. Federal workers are now haven't been paid in what, a month something. It's going to start hitting there. What were you going to say, Jessica?
Oh, no, I agree with you. I think it's a particular brand of cruel, to your point, Tami, that it's this month that this is happening. You know, the month for feasting, for family, for gratitude, for food. It just feels special, kind of cruel.
Meryl, I have a question for you. You can answer it or not answer it, but it certainly popped in my mind this morning. New York City elected a Democrat socialist. Is the dispensing of meals to those in need at no charge, is that to be considered a socialist program? Or is that just like, where does all this puzzle, I find it ironic, where does it fit together? Where does this fit?
A good question. I don't know if I would call it socialist, and I don't know how it all fits, but I do know that we really need to step up. The city really needs to step up for our neighbors. The state needs to step up for our neighbors, and the whole community needs to step up because it's really an immense need. And as others have been saying, the lines are getting longer, but I think something that's really important to point out is that in New York City, at least, visits to food pantries and soup kitchens was at the highest level on record before the shutdown started. It was higher than at the peak of the pandemic. So this was like crisis level before, it became something that we can kind of officially call a crisis.
And was the layoff of federal employees a big piece of it, or was it spread across a full population?
The furloughs and the missed paychecks, it's certainly not helping. We've been doing pop-ups and we've been talking to people who are coming in uniform and they're coming on their break because they're still working, but they're not getting paid. So it's certainly impacting it. But I think really it's like the affordability crisis that predated all of this that made the level so high.
Guys, what does the relationship look like? I met Tami at the Victory Foods. What does the relationship look like or need to look like? Cisco, US Foods, PFG, et cetera. Talk a little bit about how those folks can step forward, have stepped forward, et cetera. What are you looking for from them?
At least from Feeding Westchester, a conversation. I know a lot of times, vendors want you to be able to spend with them for you to give back to us, right? So we do have some spending with some of our providers, and a lot of them have, like most have said, have stepped up, right? We've had, what can we do? They've asked us, what are we in need of? What are the items that we're most in need of? And if they can't give it to us at a donated, they can give it to us at a reduced rate, which is still great, right? We're able to do that. So we'll take something. I think we're always looking for food and or funds, right? So if you can't, same thing with any corporate organization, an individual, if you can't give us the dollar, but you feel more comfortable giving us a truckload of chicken, we'll take it, right? If you want some seasoning, we'll take it. People are like, well, do you want toilet paper? I'll take anything, because I think people think those in need don't wipe, and we do. They need non-food and food, right? They need everything that SNAP can't provide. So we will take it. But I think ultimately people have stepped up in a great way, as best as they can.
Okay. Back to what we were saying before. No, it's not socialist. It's not socialism. We call it, Jews call it tzedakah, charity, alms, whatever you call it. Every single religion.
I think I misspoke. I apologize. I really do. Thank you.
You're welcome. Every single religion says give. Some people do it as a way to buy their way into heaven.
We're not here to judge their motives.
That's right.
Give welcome.
Give big, give little. So let's start discussing the actual process that a restaurateur, a grocery store, anybody that handles food can get involved in it. Julie, why don't you start?
Yeah, it's super easy. They can go to our website, they can reach out to any of us, and we can start. We have two ways of picking up. We have refrigerated trucks that are out Monday through Friday. We pick up right from the receiving, area of the grocery store. The receivers hold it for us, and we go right in, pick it up. We also have our app. It's Table to Table I Rescue, and volunteers are doing what our drivers are doing. We spoke about how the lines are longer and how people are stepping up, but we have seen an influx, a huge increase on volunteers registering on our app. And while we love that, we know it's because of the situation that's going on. It's really cool to see. We've had, just in 5 days, we've had 70 people register on the app, and we usually get 70 in a month. It's pretty great. But volunteers can do it too. They pick up from anywhere from a bagel shop to a pizza shop to the big Acme's, the Whole Foods, the Trader Joe's. Yeah, it very, very easily can work with us, and we can pick up. We're very, we can pivot very easily.
What's your website where you want them to go to?
Table2table.org.
Okay.
Simple.
Okay. Jessica, why don't you add to that?
Sure. So at Lifting Up Westchester, our version of food service is our community kitchen. But even in all of our other programs, including our housing program, our youth programs, our employment program, we see people who are struggling with hunger. So similarly, there are lots of ways to get involved at Lifting Up Westchester. You can host a food drive. Right now, we're collecting grocery gift bags to hand out to the people in our programs for the holidays. And you can go to liftingupwestchester.org, contact our community engagement manager, Nancy, to get set up on that. But also, we're just so grateful for our partners in the community. Like Julie was saying, we have the big ones like ShopRite's a very strong partner of ours. But even we have a local cafe in downtown White Plains. It's the Pamplemousse Project. They donate 100% of their proceeds to the nonprofit community. And even still, they'll come bring pastries to our kitchen in the mornings when they can. And then partners like Feeding Westchester, who are out there right now and offering their nonprofit partners food at no cost, which is huge for us at this moment. But yeah, give, volunteer, donate food, collect food. Really, this is the moment where it takes a village. And if the government's not going to step up, we're all going to take care of each other.
Thanks for setting up the segue. Tami.
Oh,
And what's your website? Where can people find you, Jess?
We're at liftingupwestchester.org, all one word.
Okay, go.
Okay.
no worries. Feedingwestchester.org. That's where you go to find food. Same thing. We are out in stores, working with our partners, working with our retail partner, our partner agencies. I just want to make a note too that I agree. Volunteers have stepped up. The community has stepped up in a huge way, but we've been in this for a very long time. And so I'm excited that the spotlight is on it and people understand and they see. I just don't want them to forget. Like even before government shutdown, SNAP was always an issue because SNAP at the first of the month was great. Second week, you're okay. Sometimes third and the fourth week is rough. And that's when you see the line start to actually increase, right? So even though we're supposed to get partial payments, people were already 2 weeks in, which is why you've seen the increase. And then the government shutdown, which we've also, our federal employees, we've also tried to reach out to them as well. And you can also get that information if you're a federal employee. You can go to feedingwestchester.org and get a food box delivered to your home, right? So my thing is just really advocating, but letting people know SNAP has always not been enough. We've always advocated for more. All food banks across the country have done this, including City Harvest. We just really want people not to forget because hunger isn't just October, November, and December. It's all year. So I just want to say that.
Okay. Last but not least, Meryl.
Yeah, I guess one thing I'll add to what Tami just said is also don't forget when, there are $186 billion in SNAP cuts coming down the pike. We're talking 8 billion right now. $186 billion in SNAP cuts are coming. And so, this is just a taste of what's to come. And I echo her hope that people don't forget about this when the government reopens, because the problem is not going to end when the government reopens. But to answer the initial question, you can go to cityharvest.org to find ways to help. You can go there as a food donor. You can go there as a financial donor. You can go there to volunteer. We have a map of places to find food, free food in New York City. Yes, I would recommend that people go there.
Okay, great. And well, once again, time is our enemy. Fred, well, before we go into last comments, Ed Flanagan, the Error Group, we keep talking about now, especially money's even tighter. If you don't think you're getting what you're paying for in your business, or you think you can do better, call Ed Flanagan and the Error Group. Their experts will sift through your invoices, they'll sift through your agreements, and make sure you're getting what you paid for at the right price. Once again, Ed Flanagan and Error Group. Like I mentioned earlier today, the ripple effect. When you cut off that much money going into the economy, it can't help freeze the cogs of the wheel. Whether it's children who are not learning in school, whether it's workers who are too weak to do their jobs because they're not eating, whether it's empty stores. This is hurting. So what I'd like to do is go around the room and give that one little last tidbit of information that you need to get people involved. Julie.
Oh man, you start with me. Yeah.
Always.
I was like, please don't say Tami.
Well, I'm Actually, I am going to mimic what Tami said. Just don't forget. This is, she's absolutely right. We've been doing this. Table to Table's been doing this for 27 years. Hunger isn't going away. Just don't forget and do whatever you can to help.
Okay, Tami, you're next.
Yeah, so what I would say is really get involved, understand the hunger landscape in your community. I think people think they have to do some large gesture. You don't. Volunteering, caring for your neighbor, check in on your neighbors like we used to do. Never forget, of course. And then also just think about, this is just a touching point, right? Think about not-for-profits, period, in the food insecurity space, but all spaces. If you transfer federal dollars and the burden to the state, and the state then takes it on, where do you think they're going to pull from? They're going to pull from our funding.
Yeah.
So we will have to do more, still asked to do more with less, right? We haven't even talked about the ABOD population that has to be recertified as of November 1st, that potentially could lose their benefits in total, right? So you increase demand, you short our supply, but then you want us to do more. We were never built, food banks, table to table, none of us on this call were built to replace safety nets of the government. We are supplemental. So that's what I will leave.
Who are these? What is this group again?
ABODs are able-bodied adults without dependents. Before, you would be 18 through 54 with dependents 17 years old and under. They changed it under the guise of government shutdown to hide it from you, and they changed the certification for SNAP benefits to now be 18 to 64 years old with dependents 14 and under. That is at least 7,000 households within Westchester County. I can't imagine Bergen, and with definitely not in the 5 boroughs.
Yes,
So
and
we
with the
change
true
this, and people will lose their benefits because of a new certification requirement.
and with the true wisdom of government, they increase the number of people and cut back on the money. That's the way government works. Okay, thank you, Tami. Jessica.
Yeah, I guess my parting words would just be, remember, we're all talking about humans here, right? This isn't a character flaw that this is an economic issue. Someone doesn't have the money to buy the food they need to sustain themselves or their families. And I think some of us are just luckier than others that you can fall back on your social safety networks or friends, family, organizations. But really, this can touch anybody and everybody. So we should all really be concerned about this, not just for the holidays, not just during the shutdown, but always, right? This is something that has been an issue and isn't going away. So thank you for having us here and for giving us this platform to talk about it.
Thank you. Thank you. Meryl.
Everyone has said really excellent things, so I don't have too much to add. I guess I would say if you are moved by what's happening, if you are concerned about the lines, if you are, concerned about the people we're talking about, take action. It feels good. It makes a difference. And it is the action of our community is how all of our organizations can do what we do. Now is a perfect time to take that first step.
And Fred.
Thank you, guys. Can't thank enough. Learned a ton. Appreciate it that we're going to share with our readers. Thank you.
Thank you
you,
so
Fred.
much.
Thank you
for
so
having us.
much.
Thank you, ladies, for all your work too.
Yes,
Thank
it
you.
was-
Thank you,
hang
you
in there.
too.
I somehow feel better about this, that there's hope out there for things. Listen, I don't care who you are at one point in your life, whether it be your next door neighbor making you a sandwich because you were hungry, or, as a kid, your family needing help. We've all received the gift giving from someone outside of your family, someone that cared. Whether it could have been the Little League coach who gave up all this time and effort to working with you. It's time to give some of that back. It's time. You don't have, I figured it out. I live in a building, there's 6 floors with 8 apartments. If everybody gave a can of something, look what it would do. That doesn't hurt at all. Listen, we're going to be back here next week. Hopefully we'll have a better story to tell, a happier story. There is no better story than this, a happier story to tell. Until then, there's only 2 things left to say. Everyone, stay positive, test negative, and I'll see you next week.